welcome to another episode of the magical world of G. Michael Vasey, and today I'll be taking a look at a place in the Czech Republic called Byci Skala, which is in the limestone karst area to the north of Brno, a very beautiful area with lots of caves and underground streams made of limestone. And it really began when Eva remembered this place because of a photograph that she'd taken several years ago. And I then went out to visit, and I thought it would be good to talk to Eva about why this place is full of feminine magic, and then to actually show you the location. So here we go. Tell me a little bit about what prompted your interest in Byci Skala to begin with.
Yeah, actually, it was quite interesting because this place is not far away from my home, and I went for my pilgrimage. And since came back, I just feel like I have a different eyes. I just look to the things by a different eyes. And in one moment, for some reason, I reminded a picture I took for years in Vienna. There is a museum, and they keep very beautiful. You may find pictures of it, or I can share it with you. And they keep very beautiful funeral card from Celtic time, which was found in Býči Skala, which is the place just half-hour drive from Brno, and I never been there. So I was starting to think about it, and of course, during my visit in England, we had quite a lot discussions about history with Lily. Then I just start thinking about the history of the place too. So it was the reason why I just become obsessed by that. Because more I read, I find it more and more interesting. And most fascinating thing is that it's repeating during the time, even different cultures, different people for 1,000 years. The same things happen there related to the female energy or female goddess with different names, but everything what was happening there was always the same.
So what was happening there?
If I went to the place, I just feel very strong female energy, right? And what became to be suspicious for me in the beginning was that I found a scientific art scientific article about how they did laser mapping. You probably know the name of that. I didn't. And they found that all the roads which came from north to south or west to east, but very, very, very significant roads at the time, like 1,000 years ago, just didn't go directly by the flat areas around Brno and around cave, but they all of them went directly to the cave. So I was just thinking, what's happening there? What attracted those people? Because if you go there, there are steep hills, very
Yeah.
dark alleys. Yeah, you know it. Even when it's weather like today, very hot and sunshine, if you go there, it's still dark, and you may feel like very different places compared to the others we have here around Brno. And yeah, I realized there must be something what those people attracted and why they came there. And it must be something related to the energies, right? And it was also a reason why I asked you to come there and just check the lines. And you said yes, you find the female lines there.
No, I found exactly the same thing. I mean, very strong feminine energy, and strangely enough, lots of female negative lines passing through, almost as if the male lines had been pushed off to the side, and so you got like four lines coming in, all negative, and the positives on the outside. And unfortunately, because as you say, it's a very steep valley, it's going to be very difficult to try to figure out actually what's going on with those lines, because actually it's not steep, it's a sheer cliff. So it's almost impossible to dowse around it. But I did notice that there's a bicycle trail, right?
Hmm.
I thought perhaps sometime me and you could go out and hike that bicycle trail, maybe. So that would dowse one side of it, and on the other side there has to be a footpath somewhere as well on the other side. So maybe we can at some point figure out a little bit more. And did you say that they're opening the cave to the public as well next year?
Yes, you can go there for visit. It will be in June, and I realized there is some opening also in September, so we can make try to check it
I
also in.
go with dowsing rods inside the cave.
Yeah, it would be nice. It seems to be like historical event because it's also part of the story, right? Because the place still attracts people to come there, so they do some historical even they show how people lived in prehistoric time and so on. They wear costumes and go in. I don't know if they go inside cave, but probably there will be people interesting about history of the place and about spirit of the place. So could be opportunity to check it.
I thought it was also funny that you had gone there, and on the Saturday I went to the place that Rory had found a node and talked to a lady, and she told me that the same paths, the salt and amber path trade routes, passed through that town as well, which was one of those strange synchronicities again. Like how the hell you're hearing about this and I'm hearing about it independently, more or less on the same day, within 48 hours anyway, I suppose.
Yeah, it was exactly the same time, right? So
Bizarre.
maybe something we should focus on more.
Yeah.
What we did in the past.
Well, and
Maybe.
as I said, I think to you on the phone, when Sue and Stuart were doing the Follow the Birds magic through the UK, they had established that there were these trackways, these pathways, and these went from sacred place to sacred place. They weren't just trade routes, and they established that the Templars were the guardians of these routes, right? And so it sort of again takes me full circle to talking to Sue and Stuart way back then about the Templars trade routes, sacred places on energy lines. It's interesting how that works.
Yeah, actually, it attracts me more and more because also the Slavics, for them pilgrimage was very important part of the rituals and about working with goddesses. So yeah, maybe.
Well, the thing that you brought out in your article that I didn't allude to very much was that just down the valley is Cretini, and that's like the valley of baptism or whatever, and it's also a place of pilgrimage, and it has a Marian devotional aspect to it, which of course is just the goddess. So
Yeah.
very strong, apparently very strong goddess focus in that valley itself.
Yeah, again, female, and this is why I think that it's some place, or you can call them different names, right? It could be witch, it could be goddess, and it could be uh, Mary or anybody, but it's still the female energy. And when I start to do research about the place, I realize that this place is connected to Rudice. And you remember we went there a couple of years ago, and the place is also amazing, but in very different way, right? Because Rudice is place where the river comes underground, and
Mhm.
it's really big dark hole, and the river or stream, which is very muddy at that place and very dark, comes inside the earth, and it's a little bit like scary. Or I don't know how you feel about this place. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I remember it very well. I've been there several times with and without you, and I remember trying to take one of your shortcuts up the hill. Yeah,
Yeah, yes, yes, it was. Oh yeah, I told you
the
in the
usual disaster. Yeah,
yeah, of course. But I think more about the place, and this is the same stream which comes out in a Byci Skala,
yeah,
and it goes underground 18 kilometers, which is huge.
yeah,
And I was just thinking if our ancestors can know that it's connected, because right now we have different possibilities. But I thought it could be quite easy because if you have some color and
yeah,
you put it in the beginning and some color appears in the end, then you realize yes, it's the same. So they
yeah.
probably can do it, and they can just believe, and I believe as well that inside is something which is very female, which is like clear, which is like force which cleans everything. Because if you come inside very dark, angry, muddy, and everything. And then you are at Byci Skala and you can see the stream, which is very calm, clear. You can see, even stones, and all the area is very peaceful. Then, wow, it must be really strong power inside the cave, right?
Yeah, and like we said, Marana, rebirth, death, and rebirth symbolized by the whole thing, or the goddess, just the goddess. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can imagine why they came there, because if you travel for, just taking some stuff on long ways, it must be really difficult at that times. They can face a lot of issues and also death. So you probably know some place to come and ask for help just clean yourself.
Yeah.
And the same with the warriors, with Celtic warriors who were at the cave found on the funeral card. They probably go there because they expected they will be somehow cleaned before they go to the other level of life,
Or
right?
even resurrected.
Yeah. And this is why the place is so interesting. And as I said, I was just impressed how it comes through all the centuries, because also Christians work with the same Virgin Mary of Christini and Santini, who is very famous for his approach, how they build churches. He simply work with mystic and with numbers and everything. And if I look to the place in Christini, which already we know for so couple of years, and if I compare it with the cave, the proportions are the same, because the cathedral itself is very huge and also higher more than other churches, and the same is at the cave, which is really high and with open windows, naturally windows, which it comes the light inside the cave. And the same we can see at the church, because the church also have windows nearby the roof and light comes inside. So what
Yeah.
else?
Now, I've been to Rudice several times, a couple of times with Eva and a couple of times on my own. And this interesting place is where the muddy waters simply disappear into a hole in the ground, a rocky hole beneath a limestone cliff, an absolutely sheer cliff. The place is dark and feels full of energy. The hole in the rock is, in a sense, almost terrifying, actually. And the waters disappear. You can imagine ancient humanity seeing something really special about this place, the way that the waters just disappear into the ground, into a chasm, into the goddess, into the mother goddess, into the earth goddess. And as you can see from the video, it's a very humid place in a sense, so it's very full of vegetation and trees, and it grows on limestone, which means that, of course, it makes it very green. And so this is where the waters enter the earth and travel then a number of kilometers through the limestone rocks to emerge at Bull's Rock, or Byci Skala. That's what it means. And that comes from the bull that was found at Byci Skala. This is Byci Skala. This is the beautiful clear water that's emerging from yet another hole beneath the limestone cliff, some 13 kilometers away from where it disappeared. And again, you can imagine that ancient peoples found this place to be magical. Crystal clear, cleaned waters emerging from a hole in the limestone cliffs. I visited the location because Eva asked me to go and take a look. And I have to tell you, the energies there are wonderful, vibrant, and very feminine. And during my dowsing, I found a number of female lines, one passing through this very location, another passing through the actual large cave that I'll show you in a minute on the video. When you combine that with the lush earthy sort of nature of the place and the water tinkling through the stream, it really is a place where you feel like you could stay, meditate, and in fact you expect the goddess to emerge any minute from the forest to greet you. The emerging waters are so clear and so clean that they act like a reflective mirror and add to the idea that one should meditate here, staring into the reflection of the sun in the waters. As a geologist, I also find it quite interesting because of the limestone cliffs, and the limestone cliffs are very tall, and this is why actually beginning to dowse around is quite hard, because how do you actually access the land where these limestone cliffs are? At some point in the future, we will take a bike path that does go around the back and hopefully be able to add another dimension to the dowsing of the energy lines. We also might be able to get into the cave itself at some point and dowse inside there, because the sticks tell me that there is a node inside this cliff, inside this cave, where these archaeological discoveries were made. Eva discovered this place when she visited, and she was overwhelmed by it. So I thought I'd come out with a rod and do some dowsing and see what was going on. And I think I'm overwhelmed by it too. There's a very strong energy here. There's a stillness, and with the sound of the water and the water emerging from the earth, it's a very feminine place. I haven't finished dowsing here, but so far all I've discovered is female lines, major type 4 lines, at least 3, maybe 4, and one positive that must be associated with one of them. Because of the sharpness of the valley, at the moment I can't say whether in fact there is a node here or just a bunch of lines running through, but something special is happening here. And I have to tell you, I had to make an invocation to the goddesses, the Slavic goddesses, and I just felt like I had to ask to restore femininity, for women to become feminine again, and for men to become masculine again, to restore the archetypal male and female, the backbone of humanity, the backbone of the family, the backbone of our success as spiritual beings on this planet. And I feel as if somehow I was meant to ask for that. It felt like a right thing to do. It's very hard to describe, but I think that's what we need. Female women and masculine men. And in this place of feminine energies, where the goddess resides almost visibly, there are several entrances to the cave, which you can see in the video, but these are shuttered and locked. But apparently from time to time they do let the public in, and I'm hoping that we are able to visit. Anyway, so this is Byci Skala. This is in the Valley of Baptism by the magnificent church of Kratini, where the Virgin Mary was said to have appeared at some point in the valley. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. In the meanwhile, might I invite you to pop over to our website at earthmagicbrno.com, and please do like, share and subscribe, and perhaps while you're at it, how about some merchandise to help support this channel? Thank you.